Amakhosi Football Club. In today's video, we have four players specifically to talk about who were linked with the move away from Kaizer Chiefs, and so far it hasn't looked like Nazreddin Nabi and the technical team will be changing their minds on these players. And them leaving, I think most of us will agree of the fact that them leaving, it's actually a justifiable thing that they would leave, and you would understand the reason why. I understood the reason why in the beginning, and I would understand those reasons if they are the ones that are given. So also, as you are joining in, get in your comments as well. Let me know what you guys think about this whole thing of the players who are linked with an exit out of Kaizer Chiefs. But now that I think about it, as I was saying this, I'm actually thinking that we've also had this conversation about one of these players, and we've said that maybe Chiefs should give him an opportunity. So I want to hear all of those comments. I want to hear you guys telling me what you think. If you're watching on YouTube, please do make sure to like the video, and of course, if you're watching on other platforms as well, make sure you do the same thing. Shout out to people on TikTok already giving gifts and stuff like that. So shout out to all of you guys for that. Wherever you are joining, I do appreciate you. Okay, now abantu besayina ama-register. uFrankson is saying, Mr. Mpilo, we're signing the register. uLindo Kuhle say, okay, ngizoyifunda indaba isaqala nje stream useyalwa lo muntu i-stream usiqala. Kodwa umuntu osethi ithi le comment kaLindo Kuhle, Samkelo needs to go on loan with whoever that's exiting the club. The boy doesn't realize the opportunity in front of him. We will talk about those. I will start with my own list so that then you guys can also tell me which other players you think should actually be leaving. And I also always want to encourage you guys as we are starting this stream that we make this as constructive as what's the word, as constructive as it possibly can be, right? Because I do not want to be famous for bashing Kaizer Chiefs players, or bashing the club, and this platform to be like that. So I just beg with you guys as you are commenting that to also be sensitive that other people or even those players might watch some of these streams, because I've found out people from Chiefs who know me, and I'm like, they know me. Even people in management, it's just that they haven't said, hey Mpilo, we know you. But when I was in, especially when I was in Free State, I was so surprised when I met some people who are in the within the management of Chiefs, not like a board, but who are working there actually. I'm like, that is interesting. So I just left it there. So I'm just saying that the players and whoever might be watching, so please be sensitive with your comments as well. Uspo Kuhle saying, Mpilo Nation, young PDK saying, we need Adams in that midfield, he can control it. Today's video is specifically about the players who are or could be leaving, and not necessarily the ones who could be coming in. I think is saying, Olampilo, I didn't get the players linked with the exit, but I'm thinking Shini might leave us, given the fact that Zwane Mangete Amazulu is a big fan of him. We're going to talk about that. You see, man, you're also giving me ideas. But let me just talk about the players that I am talking about, right? So, the first player who it was confirmed even by SABC News that he was on his way out of Kaizer Chiefs on deadline day is Tatoya Titlokwe, the defender who is like a backup to Rashun Totli as it stands right now. But after that game against Sundowns, it left me with more questions than answers, because when Inacio got injured, before even Inacio got injured, on the bench when we were going to that game, it wasn't given him Msimango who was on the bench, but it was Titlokwe. And that made me go, wait a second. Why is Msimango not the one who is on the bench? Because he was usually the one who would come on. Why are they changing? So it was so weird to me that to a point that it made me feel like they are changing their mind about Ditlokwe. Because another thing we heard about Ditlokwe was the fact that the team wanted him to go to Makesi on a loan, which would have helped the Chiefs open up a foreign spot. But reports are also saying that the player himself said, nope, I do not want to leave. I want to stay and fight for my place. So I wouldn't be surprised if then he fought for his place to a point that the club actually thought, maybe we should just give him an opportunity. So I wouldn't really be surprised if Utitlokwe is in a situation where he is actually staying. The next player on the list is Uzita Kweneka. And I think if kunabantu that we can talk about, if we're being honest, that we can talk about, or a person that we can specifically point to when we talk about exits from Kaizer Chiefs, Utitlok, right? Like, I mean, not Utitlok, Kweneka. Because I saw him, I think it was, I forgot who. I think it was Paul. I forgot who inboxed me here on Facebook and said, hey Mpilo, did you see Kweneka unomkhaba? And then I went to check that picture. I'm like, you said nomkhaba ngempela. It's almost as if he's been told that, listen, you have no future here. And I'm not saying he's done, but it looks like he is, because it doesn't look like the team will be giving him another opportunity at Kaizer Chiefs at all. And given the fact that he came in at Chiefs as a big money signing, he was also in a situation whereby not only was he getting a lot of money to get him to come to Chiefs, number one, but the second thing would also be the fact that he came to Chiefs and he was getting a lot of money as a consequence. Some people were even talking about figures around about 300,000, which I understand, because at that time I was coming from Stellenbosch and he had just won the defender of the season for Stellenbosch. So everything was valuable to Stellenbosch, and it would have taken some convincing from Kaizer Chiefs for him to then say, oh, okay, there's lightning outside. For him to say, I'm actually going to leave my club and come to Chiefs. I am just going to close the blinds because I'm scared of lightning. There we go. I'm back. So that's what I'm saying. Ditlokwe and Kweneka. The next player on the list is one that you guys, I want you to vote. Let me ask you right now. So let's start to Ditlokwe. Do you think Ditlokwe will be leaving Chiefs in January? And number two, do you want him to leave the Chiefs? Do you think that would be a good idea? Because if we're thinking about the pros of Ditlokwe leaving, he opens a foreign spot. The con, we don't have enough backup for him. Because when we're thinking about backup, backup for Rashun Totally will be involved with Bafana, and even next season he will still be involved with Bafana. So an injury to him means we don't have a natural left-footed centre back. So please tell me on the comments, do you think that Ditlokwe should stay, or do you think Ditlokwe should go? So Ditlokwe, then now the session Ditlokwe must stay. So Ditlokwe stay or leave, and then Kweneka as well. Should he stay or should he go? Let me know on the comments. I'll be reading them. Let me read on TikTok what people are saying. Brother is saying Mark must be released. Man must be released. Zwane alone, sign new quality goalkeeper and playmaker 2 or 3. And then there is Mr. Q saying, if you're a national team coach, would you pick Sireno to the national team? That's a side note, but I will answer you since you asked and you are commenting, and I value comments. So the reasons that Hugo Bruce gave, I accept them, right? I accept the reasons. Because when he was asked about why does he not pick Usireno, he said he wouldn't pick him. Reason being, number one, he's not the type of player that he wants. But number two, he's also looking for young alternatives, because I think it's the same thing that Beslok Sibang about Ukune Chiefs, that he's getting old and we've been depending on him so much. Now that he's gone, we don't really have a succession plan. So might as well right now be trying to invest more time on Relebile Mfukeng, on other players who can play as a 10. I know Mfukeng is the left winger, but the other players who can play in that position. So you might as well start the process of converting him into a 10 for a national team because he's already playing in that position for Pirates. He's coming from left and inverting into midfield. So I think that coach made a good point, and I'm not going to argue with him because it's a valid point. You understand? So I think coach Hugo Bruce made sense. So I agree with this decision. And then Ongama is asking, uyaphila mpilo? Yes sir. Khona omunye enye comment la ithi Titloko stay maningi ama comments konothi yi English yani qamkhumula ibhola. Kumele understand weluyanda ukuthi not everyone speaks Zulu or Xhosa. I would speak Zulu if I wanted to, but there are people who are not even from South Africa who watch this channel, so I'm not just gonna speak Zulu. I will make some videos in Zulu because it's my normal language, but I'm not gonna speak Zulu or Xhosa just because I wanna accommodate 3 or 4 tribes while there's other 9 languages that are spoken in this country. Anyways, as I said, abantu ba commenta khona bakhuluma ngoNtwari. We're not even talking about Ntwari because if you think Ntwari is going to be released 6 months after arriving, well, I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. So forget it. Banbati Ditloko stay, and omunye Umbuso Chef is saying stay. For me, Mpilo, players who must be released. Kuna is crying for 2 weeks. Musuklegu Kun. Usepiri is saying Matlong and Potane should be given a chance because honestly speaking, they deserve it too. We are going to talk about that in tomorrow's video. We're going to talk about the other players who have not been given enough opportunities. But for now, we're still talking about those who are leaving, right? Okay. Potane can give us something. Abanye bathi Titi must stay. So I see my comments. A lot of comments seem to be saying Utitloko must stay. What about Ukunika? Let's get a quick response about Ukunika. What do you guys think about Ukunika? I also want to see Konava Titloko out. But most comments I saw at Kulmangoguti Utitloko must stay. Let's see Ukunika. Let's see. What are you guys thinking? But Ukunika must go. Ukunika out. Omunye uthi Kunika should go ayothola ithuba lokudlala. Kunika. Let me get a poll over there on YouTube because that's the only place I can make a poll. Potane, can I give us something? I feel like it. Kunika, guys, comments on Kunika. Let me start a poll. On Facebook, on YouTube, who should stay? I will give 3 options because the third player that I'm bringing up is Kunika, Ox, and then the other option is Titi. Just gonna, because I'm gonna misspell it. So over there on YouTube, you can answer that poll. Out of the 3 players, this is the second thing now. The third thing rather, the third player, which is Ox Mtetwa. By the way, no Mtetwa na it was the same thing beginning of the season. Apparently was also offered to go to the team by the name of Makesi, and Kwayena, it was the same thing. Go on alone there, and yeah. But also it was the same thing. The move could not be finalized, so he stayed. And if you are looking at Chiefs right now, you can clearly see that he has not been given an opportunity, even though the midfield has looked like it's shaking, right? But he has stayed, and that means the coach is probably still not convinced, right? So that makes me think, Maufigu January, is he going to be one of those players that Nab is going to say, well, I couldn't get you to go beginning of the season, halfway through the season, I'm letting you go. So I wonder if that's going to happen, and I wonder what you guys also think. So Ox, what are you guys saying? Ox, Titloko can play as left back, but the problem Usitrell is saying it's shaking. Let's accept it. Usam Fuking saying keep the players because teams don't want to sell us. We need strikers and creative midfielders. Yeah, so one day, inkinga when course Sam is that let's like the video there on YouTube. But what I'm saying is the problem is that it's pointless to keep players that the coach is not gonna use, right? Because if you keep a player who's not gonna be getting used by the coach, then you're just killing that player's career. That's what you're doing. And what we're saying when we say, oh, we're better than Sundowns, then we're not better than Sundowns. We're just doing the same thing as them because we're getting players, we're putting them on the bench. You would rather just let them go and play. Now who play the Hlazinche Blessing is saying, let's be honest, guys, Kunika, Ox have had their time. Now it's time for other players to take over. Yeah, I always defend players. I think people always say that also. When are you just like defending players? But I have my reasons, especially from what happened last season. It's difficult for me to say, because beginning of the season I was advocating for Ranga to play. I was like, yeah, Ranga should be given a chance. Let's see how Mart performs under a new coach. Let's see how Frosler will do. I was just saying that about all of these players. Give so and so a chance. Let's give them a chance and see. But we can't then discard Abanye Abadlali and just say, this one does not deserve a chance, even though they've not had an opportunity. You understand? So I feel like everyone is there. UVM is saying, me, I still believe in Ox with a broken heart. I saw a post by El Capitano Lapak Twitter. He was saying something that makes sense. And I was talking about the fact that the reason why Steve Barker got the best out of Ox, he wasn't trying to make him a playmaker. He wasn't trying to make him a box-to-box midfielder. He wasn't trying to make him a creative midfielder. But what he was trying to do was to just say, Ox, winner, you just break up play. You just disrupt how the opposition is trying to play. So I'm going to use you in that way. Right? And in doing that, you can get the best out of some players because some players are just not comfortable with doing certain things. And if you have a certain profile of a player and not necessarily what you desire, and the team cannot get you what you desire at that time, then sometimes you are forced to work with what you have. And working with what you have could mean make Ox play the way that he prefers to play. Because if you want him to carry the ball and play a 1-2 combination until the other end, then he's not going to do that, and then you're going to bench him. So I think it's also worth considering, Uguti, can you then just play him in his more comfortable role and see what it does? And if you see that playing him in a more comfortable role is not helping you, then let him go. But then at the same time, I go back to saying, okay, having said that though, do you have the players of your system? Because we know that modern coaches, and we see even with Nabi, we see with Bruce Bafana man, the thing that it does, he checks how do these players fit in my system. It's not about am I comfortable. It's not about how strong is this player in that position. It's all about what does my system want. Like we see Guardiola at Man City letting go of good players season in, season out. You're like, how is this man letting go of that player? He was a gem last season. And Guardiola's like, nope, he does not fit in my style of play anymore. So we will discard that player. Not because they are bad, they just don't fit into the system anymore. So I think that that's another big consideration when it comes to coaches and who they select to play in teams. YouTube, please do make sure to like the video over there. In fact, not just YouTube, everyone, let's like the video. Let me read my comments lapha. Go to TikTok. Abantu bati Kunika must go. Thank you. Shout out to the gifters. Shout out to the people who are giving. Welcome back, Babu Mashonesa. Martin Tuaranga must ice blocks, then we rest Frostler, then we must put Solomons. Ox can get a chance only if Mart is out. Ox must be given an opportunity. Akhombise ubunkunzi bakhe. Omunye okay bakhuluma bodwa. Uthi ngimzibe lo. Uzongikhulumela ngeSundowns. Umnoneleli saying Chiefs need special players in central midfield. They haven't had one after Yeyele Tsolonyane. Uboaho is saying below everyone has an opportunity at training. Maybe they are not convincing the coach. That's why the coach has not chosen them for a match. You make a valid point. That's a very valid point, Kosi. I cannot argue with that. I cannot argue with that. I think I was saying the same thing with regards to who's this? Umashiane. Uguti. We see him, we see the quality that he has, but what does he actually produce in training? So I think you are making, not good, I think you are making a very good point actually. Samson is saying, why don't you convert Ditlokwe to right back, then Solomon's to right winger? Do you think it will work? No, it wouldn't work because for you to play Ditlokwe as a right back, you are just making him uncomfortable for starters because now he has to cut in because it's not his natural foot to right. And number two, you need your full back to overlap at times. And Lomchit is not comfortable on the ball as much as you would want the system, like what the system of Chiefs requires. Sibuslis on Facebook is saying, Minangiti 6 players must go and 6 must come. Asidlali lapha, no more second chances. I forgot to say the last player, which I think most people will just agree, and I don't like that, but I'm just going to say it. The last player who was also linked with an exit to Chiefs to also open up a foreign spot is Christian Saile Basomboli. So let's also vote on that. Do you think Saile should stay or do you think Saile should go? Without insult, you can just say go, stay, whatever. And then Umeli RSA is saying, and 2 left back, top players. I'm talking about backline as a solution. Who played is saying Zwane is better than Ox, but Zwane's casual style sucks. Yes, there's no time. There's no time to be casual, and Zwane should be learning that by now. Courage Blessing saying, I think Dupree is not playing well because of the new position he's put on, so resulting in him not performing 100%, and it will cost him his position as a Chiefs material. He must be a starter. Yeah, when I Dupree, one thing that I always bring up is Dupree and Saile. One thing they have in common is their decision making. They are good runners. They can run, but making the right decision on the ball, or if it's not about making the right decision, for example, like having to pass the ball, but to shoot, to pick the spot. I saw this beautiful goal midweek, and I've seen Haaland score this. Usually I had seen who's this guy, Ozil, making those passes, but I saw Gyökeres was Sporting Lisbon, the guy who scored a hat-trick against Manchester City. Like, as about to play, they come against the goalkeeper 1v1 all the time. They either try to place the ball or blast the ball, and they always fail. I saw this Gyökeres guy. He kicks the ball while it's moving. He kicks it to the floor such that it hits the ground and it lifts up over the keeper. It's so beautiful. And I see Abo Salanga chip all the time over the keeper. You can just see how they chip. It's not even that heavy of a touch because the keeper is out. It's just the foot underneath the ball and then it just goes over the keeper. Or if he places the ball, it's just crazy. And that makes me go, hey guys, this is not make sure. The way we are playing, the way we are finishing, it does not show that we are trying, we are learning how to finish. And I think because of those things, Uranga, as much as he misses 10 chances before he scores the 11th, the thing is, if you have two strikers, one is scoring one chance in after 11 chances and the other one is scoring one chance after 15, they are both bad in their finishing, but you're just definitely going to choose the one who has a better conversion, the conversion rates, right? Umnoneleli is saying Ox can't even turn with the ball. He always passes in the direction he's facing. Too stiff. Ahols is saying Ox, he needs to be given a chance under Nabi. Maybe he can give us what we want. Ushimi is saying Zwane must definitely go. He must be loaned out or sold. I don't think he will ever be good for Chiefs. He has been at the club for about 3 seasons and he never improves like other young stars. Yabo Zwane, I am here to give a verdict, like a final verdict to good agahambe. Because I don't think he has committed. I think he has done a lot of mistakes, or he has made a lot of mistakes. But I also think there is a level and there is a quality that he brings. So what Played was saying earlier on, he's better definitely than Umteto, for example, as a player, as just playing the ball. You just need to cut off some nonsense that it does, right? Some of these unnecessary things that it does. Temba utiti is tatu yaone titlokwe. I just can't write tatu yaone. I write it and then I spell it wrong, so I'll just rather write TT. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Uzwane, I still believe in him. I still believe he can do a lot for Chiefs. I just think nip the other things that you don't need and you will see what he can do. Utabo is saying, imagine Ox and Mshini playing as a double pivot, with Ox breaking up play and Mshini being the link between defense and mid. Yeah, that does sound, but not as a double pivot, because you can't play Mshini that deep. If Ox plays alone as a single pivot, then you'd be playing Ngobo Nomtu Shabalala as double eights in front of him, or depending on how you look at it, as double tens. But as two sixes, Gunzim. Kono. Ronaldo is not a fraud. Yes. Where are sang? My goodness. Oti Ulaki Pule and Ashley must be given a chance. I believe they can do better. I think given the recent pressure, I think the recent pressure that these guys have been put under, the young players of Kaizer Chiefs, I think he might just get a chance because he is being given some minutes in these games. The one thing I do not know about Upule Modi is whether last season affected him so much to a point that he started looking like a player who was, what's the word, not that confident anymore. He looked like he was scared to dribble past people, right? And I didn't like that because he's a winger. And as a winger, we need you to have that confidence to say, I can take this one on. And we see that to Tumfundo Vilagans all the time. He gets the ball, he's like, I can take this one on. And it does. So with Pule Modi, I saw him losing that confidence because it almost felt like he thought, yeah, I'm going to try and dribble and they're going to win the ball back and I can't afford to lose the ball, so I'm just going to do the safe thing and I'm going to pass the ball backwards. So that is definitely something that I think might be the reason why he's not even starting for Chiefs currently. So I just wonder, Uguti, is that the reason? Because I think it might be. So the next player that we need to talk about is not Twitter. Sipombule, we need him. Sipombule just joined Sekukune. There's no way that he joins Sekukune in September, then he goes to Chiefs in January. Upeko is saying Ox needs to be introduced, but you can't throw him in the deep end. Unduk Zabandu saying where is Saile? I already counted him. Umsawe is saying Moabali is a material one for Chiefs. Experience Kalo. Except the fact that Chipa has Pampel. You remember that Chipa United started inflating the price of Nwabali because they thought it was their big payday. You remember that even Uchi Pampengezi came out and Chipa United when Bafana were playing. That was the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life or seen it. I've seen stupid things happen on Twitter. But when Bafana were about to play Nigeria in the AFCON, you remember that? And then they released a statement saying Bafana plays Nigeria in the semi-finals and I would be going with Nigeria because they have our player which is Stanley Nwabali. I'm like, what is this man doing? It's almost as if he was trying to cause the controversy on purpose because he knew that people were going to start talking about where is patriotism? Why are you not supporting Bafana? You are South African. Your player might be from Nigeria, but at that rate, that means if Bafana plays, let's say Venezuela in 2026 in the World Cup, or let's say Ribeiro becomes so good that he ends up getting international collab for Sundowns, and let's see another player, and we're in the same group, Njalo. So when a group, let's say when a group with Brazil, when a group with Venezuela, and we also have some guy from another country, right? And then Pirates, when we were playing against Nigeria, they released a statement. They are like, oh yeah, we know Bafana is playing Nigeria, but we are supporting today our center back, right? They just support him because, and they're like, screw Bafana. And then Sundowns releases their own statement. Oh, Bafana is playing against Brazil. Screw Bafana. We are behind Brazil. It doesn't make sense. Why did he do that? He did that because he wanted to inflate his price. But then no one went for Nwabali, and the Chiefs also were not interested in signing him because they knew there was trouble there. So they went for Ntuari and they got him. So the last thing I want is working with teams that are going to try and not do deals in good faith. You get me? So if bona bebeyitshela ngomdlali bengafuni kumdayisa, they can go to hell and keep their player. I am so sorry. And then Umwalet is saying Kaizer Chiefs needs a striker coach. I'm not against that. In fact, I've been saying that sometimes getting a new striker might prove to be more problematic than trying to help the strikers that you already have. Because, I mean, it's going to cost a lot of money to get a striker. But now, yeah, it was a statement, Gledwin. It was a statement. So that was the thing. Yeah. Udion is saying, and I think some experienced players are needed. Definitely not. Definitely true. We need experienced players in the team. Uprol is saying problem about Modi, he is predictable. I said this. My problem with him is feeling like he lost confidence and he became predictable. Because here's the thing. Any winger in the world is predictable. You know right now, when Relem Fuken gets the ball, he's going to cut in. And he will cut in. You just don't know when. Like, you knew Ronaldo Guti in his prime, he was going to push the ball and try to, push it from his left foot to his right foot and cut in. Messi is going to say 1-2, 1-2, and then go this side or go this side. It's coming. It's very predictable. You just don't know when. So most of the wingers that we have in modern football, we always know what they are trying to do. It's just that you don't know when they are going to do it. And are they doing it with confidence? Are they going to do it quickly enough? And if they are on their confidence and they are performing well, then they're doing their thing. So if you're watching the video after the live stream, just you'll have final thoughts. And for those who are joining now, we talked about 4 players: Zita Kunika, Tatiana Tiltokwe, Ox Mtetwa, and Usaile. Which of those players would you like to see stay, and which of them would you like to see go? Do let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember,